start, why don't I ask each of you to introduce yourselves very briefly, just your name, where you are. Most of you are on the jury and some of you are simply joining us. And then I'll explain a bit of the format for this, what will be, I hope, a 30-minute update conversation. Robert, since you're at the top of the screen, of my screen, let's have you go first, please.
Sure, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Robert Held. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Custom Media. We are a media and marketing agency based in Tokyo.
Great. Markus?
Markus Schürmann. I'm the CEO of the German Chamber here in Japan and the delegate of German industry and commerce in Japan. I'm in Japan since 32 years.
32 years. Okay. Morita-san?
Yes, I'm exactly a freelance economist, but I've been staying in Hungary for about 34 years. Yeah.
There's some experience there. Okay. You must be the longest serving Japanese in Hungary. Probably close, yes?
Yeah.
I would think so. Okay. Chano-san?
Hello. My name is Michio Chano. I'm a consultant based in Vienna. I used to be a chief representative of Nomura in Vienna until 10 years ago. And after retirement, I keep living here, just like Morita-san in Hungary. And I have been living here almost 30 years.
Wow. Okay. Some of you we can't see you on the screen, which might mean you don't want to say anything, which is fine. But I will start with Eliza Klonowska next.
Hello, my name is Eliza. Thank you very much for your introduction, Tom. I'm actually the founder of a company based in Poland. It's called NIP Poland, and it's actually a consulting company servicing Japanese and Polish companies regarding investment and trade. I spent altogether 15 years in Japan, working for 11 years for the Polish embassy in Tokyo, and I would be pleased to be here. I'm the member of the jury. Thank you very much.
Great. Katalin Petrus from Bucharest, or not really from Bucharest, but Tokyo via Bucharest.
Hello, good afternoon from Tokyo. I'm Katalin Petrus. I'm commercial counselor within Romanian embassy. Thank you for inviting me.
Great to have you here and nice to see you in person or physically. Abe-san? You're still mute. We can't hear you. Okay.
Okay. So sorry. So good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kazuhiro Abe. I'm in the position of Managing Director of Mabuchi Motor Europe. I started working for Mabuchi Motor since 2018. And until that time, I worked for MUFG Bank for 30 years. And I was in Warsaw from 2014 to 2018. Nice to meet you, everyone. Thank you.
Great. And Kanai-san, if you want to join, if not, that's also fine. Please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yua Kanai. I'm an associate manager at GL Japan, which is a government relations consultancy firm in Japan. So we are helping the business going into Japan usually. And I'm attending on behalf of our managing director, Philip Howard, who is a jury member to this summit and awards. Thank you.
Great. Thank you all for joining. And I will just go straight into a little bit of the concept of what we're doing. This is the second, what should have been annual event. Of course, we skipped last year. And the concept and the whole reason behind the event is to deepen the connections and relationships between Japan and Central Eastern Europe. And as we define that, meaning the core Central East Europe, Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic, Slovakia, but also the Baltics, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Bulgaria, Serbia. We do have a group from Moldova attending as well. And we have decided this year to include Germany, the big gorilla in Europe, let's say, important. And let's call that more Central Europe. But we have biting off a little bit of Germany very carefully and slowly as we want to also extend our relationships there. We think that there is a role for such an event on a regular annual basis, supported by newsletters that we do, by video newsletters that we will start very soon. In fact, we will start probably next week, our first video broadcast in English and Japanese, which will be a briefing of news, investment news from Central Europe related to Japan, English and Japanese. I think it will start this week. That will be every 2 weeks. We think that there is a role for such a platform like this because there is quite a lot of turnover in the relationships between Central Europe and Japan. And that turnover is from Japanese executives who are placed into Central Europe for 2 years, 4 years, and then they leave. And they take a lot of those relationships with them. It's from NGOs, it's from the likes of JETRO, it's from ambassadors who come and go. It's people like Pais Aliza in Tokyo, who's no longer with Pai, for example. Then there are those like Morita-san and Chano-san who are here for a long time, who have deep relationships, and Shuram and Marcus in Tokyo from the other side as well. We want to recognize the big companies, the big investors, the Suzukis, the Toyotas, etc. But we also want to encourage the small companies where we think there's a lot of scope for helping them, connecting them, getting them more involved, the so-called SMEs. While the Toyotas and the Suzukis may not need much help from a platform like this, a PR platform like this, we do think we can be very helpful to increase the involvement of mid-sized companies and smaller companies who are investing from Japan into Central Europe. Or increasingly, we're seeing Central European companies moving into Japan, especially on the technology side, IT, gaming companies as well. So that's the kind of concept of the overall, the reasoning behind the idea. The format of the event, we are hybrid. It's a new world. Last time, of course, we were in Tokyo at the Palace Hotel, wonderful event. Many of you were there. This year, we will be physically in Krakow. For those of you who have not been to Krakow, it is a beautiful, wonderful city, and you're in for a treat. The others who will not physically attend in Krakow will be attending via Hopin. Hopin is possibly the best, in my opinion, the best such platform globally. That's a big thing to say, but they have gone from a valuation of 0 2 years ago to an $8 billion valuation today. So it's not just me saying it, it's impressive platform. It's impressive because it's very interactive. And you will come out of that day after a few hours having met 3 to 13 people and had a conversation with them, totally unlike a webinar, a one-way webinar, where you come out of that meeting no one. So our whole concept is to keep the interactivity, the direct conversations and direct meetings going on. The Hopin platform I will not go into too much about that. A couple of quick things only. It will have a main stage on the platform. Then there are round tables. So the way the format will work, we will start in the early morning. So 7:45 a.m. Central Europe time in Krakow online. So that's approximately 3 p.m. Tokyo time, with our first presentations on the main stage. Immediately thereafter, we have so-called roundtable discussions on different topics. And of course, it's on the website. I'll not review them all now. But the concept is that all of us have been to one-way webinars that are, frankly, mostly pretty boring, where you can't really meet other people. I don't think that's the best way to do it. We know we have to have the online part of it. That's the new world that we're in. But we do think that the Hopin platform allows you to actually continue to have sometimes one-on-one conversations or a roundtable like this is today. So the roundtables on September 9th will look very much like this Zoom call, but it's within the Hopin platform. If you get tired of this roundtable, don't want to listen to me anymore, you can jump to another roundtable led by Morita-san, for example. Or if he bores you, you can jump to the Klonovska-Lisa roundtable. The point of us as organizers is to give you the options and have you involved, not to have a one-way conversation, but have you engaged and in subjects that you think are interesting and give you options to choose what you like. So we have, in fact, 9 or 10 roundtables next to the main stage presentations as well. We also will have on these roundtables, and I will ask some of you directly, individually, to join as what I call the lead panelist. So what we have learned, and we've done 9 events on Hopin so far, what we have learned is even in these roundtable discussions, some people will be quiet, unengaged, multitasking, certain like Kanai-san, who is not visual on the screen right now. So I'm going to use you as an example, and I would be able to say, well, Kanai-san, please join us in the conversation. You certainly have something to say. Or if Robert is speaking too much, I would say, Robert, hold on a second. Let's listen to Marcus for a few minutes. What do you have to say? So the lead panelist will be those 2 or 3 people who I will say, please be engaged, actively engaged, move the conversation along, a little bit more active than others. We respect that not everyone will want to be engaged on the screen, interactive. They want to just listen perhaps, but we also want the engagement and the conversation to move around. Is that part of it clear? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to ask for some questions and comments in a moment, but let me go through next part of this update. So newest speakers, we are aiming to have about 10 more finalized by the end of August, which is soon. Some of the newest are from European Business Council, Michael Mrocek, who many of you know, Credit Suisse, Hiro Shirokawa-san in Tokyo with an economic briefing of the region. We have since yesterday, Asahi has agreed to join us. Asahi, of course, everyone knows, but they have done a big acquisitions in Central Europe in their beer business, as you know, a couple of years ago, which is not news, and that's not what they're talking about. What they have done is they have pushed the envelope on embracing new energy and renewable energy to support those businesses. So they're going to talk about their new wind energy deal in Poland. It's a PPA supporting the energy feeding into their beer factories across the region. Should be very interesting. Pleased to have them. We'll have Sol Technologies, very interesting company out of Poland, who is developing photovoltaic, very thin film renewable energy, and they are backed by Hideo Sawada in Japan. He has invested in them some years ago. They are now starting production in Poland. Very interesting company on the renewable energy side. We have Kajima Properties and Loyens Luft talking about the recent M&A in the property sector in Poland, which they're using as a platform to further expand in that space. Romek Lubachevsky, who is kind of the king and probably the master of business services in Central Europe, knows everything about it, knows all the players, and he will have a panel on the business services sector, which is very important to these Japanese companies. Many of them have set up in Central Europe: Fujitsu, Olympus, Fujifilm, Ricoh, long list, Nissan, etc. Yet I think there's a lot of space left for Western European, Japanese companies to expand into Central East Europe with more business services and IT services. So that's a quick update of some of the speakers. I'm going to go through and list out a long list of you can't see that because of the screen, of the shortlisted companies. I'm going to go very quickly, but then I'm going to post it on the website and newsletter later today. So don't worry about if you miss something, certainly no notes required. But let me just stop for a second and see if there's anyone got something to say now, just because I can take a break and catch my breath. Elisa, Robert, Morita-san. Okay, so we're going to go through, we have 12 or 13 shortlisted categories. the top, and we have, I'm going to go through very quickly the names. And again, I'll post these. Top Japanese employer in Central Europe, JTI, Japan Tobacco, Fujitsu, Poland, a big SSC in Łódź, and NTT Data out of Romania, based in Romania. Top Japanese female executive in Europe, very difficult category. We're doing that on purpose. We know it's hard, but we think it's important to push that over time. From SoftBank Investment Advisors in London, Yoko, Dochi. From More, Czech Republic, Sayaka, Yamashita. From JAC Recruitment, Akiko, Kusama. And from Fujitsu in Munich, Laura Bonamici. Top Japanese financing deal related to Central Europe, Hitachi Capital and their recent deal with MHC, which is being rebranded to MHC Mobility. The Hungarian Samurai bonds issue of late 2020, and NordicNinja's investment in Lithuanian DappRadar. Top automotive investor in Central Europe, just two, Toyota with its buyout of French Peugeot in Czech Republic, and Magyar Suzuki, of course, Hungary, 30-year anniversary, major force in the region. Top automotive supplier investor in Central Europe, Yaskawa with their new 30 million euro investment in Slovenia. Nordglass continued to expand in the flat glass business AGC across the region. Nidex with their very new 1.5 billion euro factory announced in Serbia, big deal. Toyo Tire and working with Takanaka again in Serbia. Yagi with his car parts factory in Żarów, southwestern Poland, about a 20 million euro investment. And Denso, Czech Republic, continued expansion of its electric motors supplies to the automotive sector. Top manufacturing investor, and almost finished, top manufacturing investor in Central Europe, Nippon Seiki, new center, Nordglass, Nippon Seiki, SNK, Nordglass, and Daikon. Top business services investor, Nippon Seiki, again with a new center, JTI, just launching a 1,000-person center in Warsaw, big deal, and Hitachi Vantara in Krakow with a very big shared service center that very successfully run. Top infrastructure energy partners, Zoltek. Next one, Asahi with their PPA with Polish breweries, I mentioned earlier. Hitachi ABB with their 3 wind farm substation projects in Poland. Marubeni and Mizuho in their 30% stake in Latvian gas distribution company, and Mitsubishi Power for their new CHP project in Poland. Top banking insurance company in Central Europe, SMBC, no surprise here, SMBC Leasing, Mizuho, and MUFG. Top M&A deal in Central Europe, NEC's deal to buy KMD. Yokohama Tire with their new Poland distribution deal. Kajima Europe and Griffin buying Student Depot. Nipro Pharma Packaging buying Croatia's Pyramida. Daikin bought AHT Cooling Systems. Aurelius buying Panasonic's European consumer battery business just a few months ago. And Asahi Kasei Medical with its acquisition of an Austrian research firm based in Vienna. 2 more categories, top C digital partners in Japan. And these again are Central European companies expanding into Japan. RTB House, who won last year. Asset on the security side, doing very well, big business in Japan. Comarch, QLock in the gaming and testing business. LX, a new player coming into Japan right now. Vasco Translator, which will also be doing a demo of their translation machines in Krakow, another reason to come. And Cosmos, which is a Polish tech startup, has just raised $12 million and is opening its first Tokyo office as we speak. And the last category, top Japanese consumer products brand in Central Europe, Ajinomoto, JTI again, Asahi, Uniqlo, Vedel, which is owned by Latte, the chocolates Vedel, and Nissin Foods. So I will post that on the website today, share as you like. By the way, that list is not meant to be totally complete. So if you think we're missing someone as a nomination, please email me as soon as you can, and I will reach out to them. There may be 1 or 2 or 3 key companies that should have been contacted, nominated, and I will ask them immediately. So please let me know if I'm missing someone. I'll also now just talk a bit about this jury voting process. So the jury comprised of about 20 people, and we will convene physically in Krakow on 8 September in the evening for what we call the VIP jury dinner. And again, those of you who are coming, I hope to see many of you there. We will be at this manga museum, very nice outdoor place, balcony, beautiful place. So please join us there. That will be a light dinner, wines, drinks, etc., and nice networking. We then vote physically there. Those of you who will not be attending, I will ask you to send back to me before that event your votes for the category, which, by the way, reminds me of the jury package. So you will get the jury package probably tomorrow, maybe the next day, but that will list all those companies I just listed and the details supporting the nomination. You also will get a score sheet from me, which is a list of the companies, and all you do is circle 1 winner per category. I'll repeat this again in the email. You send back to me, we compile it. Then we will do something new. We are taking advantage again of the Hopin's interactivity, and we will have a popular vote to merge with the jury vote. So those who are attending the event, and I'll tell you who those will be, but let's say 150 people, they will be able to vote during the day for their own choices of the winner in each category via the Hopin platform. So it's a very simple questionnaire on the Hopin platform. They'll vote one winner per category. They push the button yes or submit. We then compile that with the jury vote, and in the evening, or actually in this case, it'll be lunchtime. The lunchtime awards ceremony will then announce the winner of those combined votes. And no one will know who won until we have it on stage announced. Now, let me just go through again how that will work. Everything is going to be broadcast on Hopin. Everything will be physically in Krakow. We've done this before. It works well. It's a bit complicated, but it's fun and it works. And so I will be on the stage, a big stage, with the co-hostess with me, going through the categories and the winners. And those of the winners who are not physically there, which will be most of them, I think, we will patch them in via Hopin and ask them to say a few words about having won. It works pretty well. And the last event we did back in June, we had about 95% of the people that were there. It almost felt live. It was pretty good. I've got a big screen behind me, and the person, let's say it's Morita-san, would be in a big screen broadcast on Hopin and physically. It works very well. It should be quite a new experience for many of you, I hope. I'm going to stop talking in about 3 minutes. I'll just tell you about who will likely attend. Many people are asking that. We think there'll be about 50 people in person and about 100 plus online via Hopin. The event is complimentary for nominated companies and for jury members and for speakers. So we expect about 50 people that will be jury and speakers to attend, about 50 shortlisted companies, about another 50 guests from Japan, from multiple sources, let's say, and about 50 guests from Central East Europe, including a decent turnout from Krakow, the Krakow Technology Park, the Krakow Nova Huta Industrial Redevelopment, and from Moldova, we will have 5 to 7 IT tech companies who will also be attending, looking for business and to support Japanese companies. So let me stop talking and see if there are any suggestions, comments, questions, anything at all. And I'll say up front, if you don't say anything, I'm going to start asking 1 or 2 of you, but I do think you have some questions and even some suggestions. We need comments and ideas. And again, if we need to have 2 or 3 more speakers, I'm very open to it. 2 or 3 more jury members, we're open to it. So we want this to be a encouragement to engage with us, not a one-way talking. So Robert, you raise your hand first, please.
Yes, yeah. I was just curious as how will the popular vote be done? What kind of information will the audience receive? The jury gets, a packet of information. So we have a lot of information to review and, assess a suitable winner. And then what's the weightage? The first question is a popular vote, how is it going to be done? And then what's the weightage when you're merging the scores, a jury vote versus popular vote?
Great question. Before the event takes place, we will send out a PDF to everyone attending, and the PDF will have a condensed version of the jury package that we think doesn't violate any confidentiality from the nominees. It will not be as much information as the jury gets. It will be an abstract of that, but that will be a PDF that everyone will get prior to the event, and on that basis, they would be able to make some sort of intelligent decision. Yet we also will weight the jury vote heavier. So 2/3 jury vote, 1/3 popular vote, simply because we expect more from you guys as the jury members to dig in a bit more, think a bit more about it. And the popular vote will be a bit more reflexive. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. One more thought I'll also add to this. On September 2nd, so exactly 1 week in advance, the Hopin platform will be open. It will look a little bit bare and naked on September 2nd, but what we're doing is that we will allow people to have set up one-on-one meetings. This is one of the advantages of Hopin, and one of their disadvantages has been that they had previously allowed one-on-one meetings to be set up the same day, which doesn't work very well for anyone. You're busy, everyone's busy. I can't say, Marcus, can I please meet with you today in 30 minutes? It doesn't work. But if I say, Marcus, can we fix a meeting at 10:15 a.m. next week for 15 minutes, the chances of it happening go up. So for those of you, and again, I will remind you, so September 2nd, the platform opens. You can begin to start scheduling one-on-one meetings, which are confidential, within the platform of Hopin, and it works very, very well. There's also the random meetings that they have as well. I don't think it works particularly well. I think the pre-planned one-on-one meetings is a better tool. So more thoughts, questions. Katalin, you're the newest here, I suppose. Let me see if you've got any comments. Katalin has just joined about a year ago as a commercial counselor in Tokyo for Romania. Any thoughts or suggestions from your side?
For me, it's all clear. Thank you. I am waiting your indication, your emails.
Okay, great. Aliza,
Thank you.
any thoughts or?
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about 2 additional speakers for this, and maybe 1 nominee as well. But I will share it with you later on through email,
Okay.
because you have to check it first, I suppose, before we make it public here.
Okay, that'd be great, please. Morita-san, any thoughts from Hungary? And welcome on. Morita-san has just published his newest book as well. You're mute still.
Okay. Yes, I recently published an English book, and if someone wants to read it, and then I can send to you. Please send the email to Tom. Then I will get the address.
Okay, great,
Yeah.
great. By the way, there we are. As you can imagine, we are not trying to be an event for the ambassadors and that level of politics. We're trying to somewhat avoid that, which is not always possible to do in the cross-border investment relationships. But we are trying to be slightly, let's say, on the ground a bit more. However, there has been the suggestion that we should invite some of the ambassadors. What do you all think about that? Any suggestions or thoughts? Elisa, you're still mute.
I think we did it before. As we remember, there were some representatives from the embassies located in Japan. Of course, we cannot do that the same way here, doing with this Krakow stuff and via Hopin as well. However, I wouldn't be reluctant to ask them if everybody agrees with that. I have nothing against. I think it really gets the level up somehow. Anyway, we have a representative of the embassy from Romania, right? I'm also representing my background from the embassy. So if you know anybody who would be interested, it doesn't have to be necessarily everybody from all the countries that we are inviting here, but some of them who are actually eager, I think it's a good idea.
Okay. And the Japanese among us, what do you think about that, Abe-san or Morita-san?
Maybe it's interesting to invite at least ambassador of Czech Republic and Hungary. And when we organized an international symposium last year at the Nippon University, 2 counselors from 2 embassies attended the meeting. So it is worthy to take contact with an embassy of these 2 embassies.
Okay, great. Great.
Sorry, so I was on mute. So I don't have any objection to invite, ambassador or some representative from embassies. So it's a good chance to make a network. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I don't want to go too long. You guys are busy. I know about it. I've tried to kind of summarize what else we're doing. Any other suggestions, thoughts, ideas now, or email to me directly. I'll answer you quickly. We are very much open to suggestions, ideas. And if there are no more comments, we'll wrap it up at this point. Any other thoughts or comments? Okay, great. Thank you all very much for the morning or the afternoon, maybe. Have a great week, and thank you very much. And we will see you again in a couple of weeks in Krakow or via the Hopin platform. Thank you all once again for your engagement and involvement, and email me directly with any suggestions or thoughts.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.